Welcome, guys. It is Tuesday evening, August 19th, in preparation for Wednesday, August 20th trading day. You are in luck. I found my original file on this book that I able to download and print. But you get to follow along with me on this. So we're going to continue with the viewpoints of a commodity trader by Roy Longstreet before we jump into the market action here. Interestingly, here. Today was only a 30-point down day from open to close, or 32, 30, what 33.5. So 33 and a half on the 1440-minute chart, open to close. It felt like it was a lot bigger than that. Those who captured, 10, 15 points out of that, 30-point open to close did tremendously well. So congratulate yourself on that. All right. So let's get into the book here. You can follow along on your screens. Let me see if I can make that a little bit bigger for you. There we go. Okay. All right. Luck. There are commodity traders who believe that luck alone is responsible for their success or lack of it. Some get the breaks and some don't. When I hear this, it gives me the creeps. I think that the person who believes it has gambler's disease. When his luck is poor, he cannot quit because his luck is bound to change. When he is succeeding, he can't quit because he's on a hot streak. I much prefer to think as Newt Rockne taught us at his football coaching school. Those who get the breaks earn them. Certainly, there is such a thing as luck, being in the right trade at the right time. However, there is a great difference between reliance on luck and reliance on pluck. In the end, a commodity trader will stand or fall on his ability rather than on the chance. There are traders who cannot profit from good luck when it occurs because they are not ready. They take small profits in big moves. A, a successful commodity trader will follow Napoleon's admonition. Always allow for a chance error as well as calculated error in action. In that way, he can stay alive until the break he has earned adds to his success. All right, the next chapter is on forecasts. One of the great mistakes made by some traders is to assume that all forecasts are perfect. Others make the equally great mistake of assuming that all forecasts are bad. Good trading practice uses the forecasts that are right, but protects the trader when the forecast is wrong. It is possible to make it big in trading if one has a clear idea of direction, degree, and timing. So let me repeat that. If you have a clear idea of the direction, the degree of the move, and the timing of the move. And I appreciate that in our trading pod here. We are all working towards that direction, degree, and timing here. One must know when to buy, when to sell, and when to stay out of the market. Necessity requires our best efforts in forecasting. There is no lazy success in trading. If you assume perfection in a forecast, you are doing it the easy way. It's impossible. You are going to have to work for it. If you are not able to adapt yourself, if you are not able to adapt yourself, if you are not willing to get down in the mud and crawl occasionally, you may be a forecaster, but you certainly are not a trader. If we begin with certainties, we shall end in doubts. But if we begin with doubts and are patient with them, we shall end in certainties. The superior trader will never admit that it is possible to forecast perfectly. If he does this out of necessity for self-preservation. If he permits himself to have certainties, and I have a side note then, it will cost him a $5 bill that says, "Thanks for last night, bitch," and something else. I forget what the other side of the $5 bill says, but it will. If he permits himself to have certainties, it will cost him. His mind becomes dull. Dull minds are not capable of quick movement. A good trader will never hold on to his views too firmly. He knows that, quote, every fool is fully convinced and everyone fully persuaded is a fool. Do not expect a perfect forecast. They are rare. Overconfidence in your knowledge of the market may deprive you the grace necessary for success. One must have the faith in his knowledge, but that faith is not adequate unless it is faith that permits doubt. The analogy I like best when describing the art of trading is that of the countless, sorry, that of a contestant in fencing. One rule is constant. You cannot perform very well for very long with your shoes nailed to the floor. In trading, as in fencing, there are the quick and the dead. All right, I think let's go one more chapter here on statistics. This is it on that. Statistics. Statistics are much abused by some. Many who use them do not understand their value, and many who should use them ridicule them instead. They are very useful if used properly, but can be most harmful if improperly used. What then is their value? There are somewhat like that part of the iceberg which can be seen. 7/8 is below the surface. Only 1/8 is visible. Pardon me, but that 1/8 is very important. It shows the voyager where the remainder lies. The experienced analyst knows that if used in conjunction with other tools, statistics can be most useful. The problem arises when in desperation we force ourselves to believe that way that they are the complete answer and that under any and all circumstances it is possible to find the answer by the statistical route. When faced with these problems, I remember the advice given me as a youngster by the late John Holmes, chairman of Swift and Company. If statistics can help us solve just one big problem a year, it will more than pay its cost. My experience is that statistics can do this very well. Be grateful if they do more, but do not expect it. All right. The next chapter is Look Before You Leap, but we'll get into that later. All right. So on close this down. On my notes here, I've got on the daily. Let me zoom in on this here. So again, keep in mind, this is only a 30 something point, 32, 33 point move from open to close here. Nothing significant there. The 20 period moving average is still a possibility. I kind of have this zone marked off here, and I think this is the one, and Dustin, you'll have to clarify maybe tomorrow morning's chat. I thought Trader 71 had this zone around 12 to 17 or 18. And I had here on the gap chart that the top of this, for a minimum downside, the top of this was 23.50, and we came down as low as 19 and a quarter. So, that 17, 18, 23 zone, all right in there. We did dip our toe into this gap, and then we found a little bit of support there. So started the last hour on move up there, last 2 hours rather, kind of move back up out of that. Let me jump back over here on the daily. So on the daily, the slow line here, we are still positive on that. So we want to keep that in mind as far as our overall picture. As of yet, even with today's price action, we have yet to dip down below zero on that LBR slow line. Speaking of that, I wanted to pull over some of these time charts here. Bear with me on these because I'm going to kind of go through the 15, 30, just do a quick glance at these. This stuff, if you look as we're moving that move down, this is the 15-minute chart here. We started doing that divergences here. Then on this low, we were doing a slow line up and fast line divergence on that last dip down. That would have led us, bullish into the close there. That was at 15.15. I apologize. One moment. Hello, this is Greg. Sorry, guys, just a lab calling there. I had to answer that. Okay. Okay, yeah, 15-minute. We started seeing that bullish divergence here going into the close. So that's a 15-minute time frame. I wanted to jump up. Let's skip the 30-minute. We're going to jump up here to the 60-minute. So on the 60-minute time frame, we're not really showing those same divergences yet. You did start seeing it in the fast line, but not really in the slow line yet. That's the 60. Same thing with the 120 now, just like I showed you on the daily, on how that slow line is staying above zero. Well, here so far on the 120, we're staying below zero. Even with these attempted pokes up, the slow line is maintaining a negative slow line. So let's monitor that on the 60 and 120 for the bigger picture stuff. I showed you the gap on the 60-minute. Yep. The 65,000 tick chart. Let's take a glance at that. Again, no divergences on that. Let's see. We got, yeah, no divergences here yet on the slow line. We did move down this 6473 zone. Was a great marker. We kind of even today we pushed up in that 76, and then that's where we had that immediate failure. That was that capitulation volume up there, and that failure back below 73. That was absolutely beautiful. You don't get those calls every week. It was just really good to see that play out, and to try and take advantage of some of that. All right. And the internals, okay, that's on the other screen. On the internals here, we've got the VIX, of course, was moving up. There's a lot of room up and down on this. So here's what I want to show you down on this SPY though. You remember we're in this channel, this moving up channel. Well, where we closed here, we're in the middle. So we got to be careful, because we're right in the middle of this channel. There is still room to the downside here. Conversely, there's still room to the upside. I know you guys, chided me saying I didn't really tell you long or short today. But just like we just read in Roy Longstreet, you want to leave room for, on the forecasting here. He said, leave room. Do not, don't permit yourself to have certainties. Keep your mind open. It allows you to take advantage of those situations. So I'm just trying to be a pro trader here, guys. Keep my mind open. But like I said, let's don't get too overly bearish, only because there is still a lot of room to the upside. There's a lot of room to the downside here, and we're kind of stopping, before reaching the top of this channel. However, if you were to put a gun to my head, I would say after wave six waves of this, five SMAs, man, I don't know, guys. We're in an interesting position, so don't hold a gun to my head. All right, that's it for tonight. We'll see you back in the chat room tomorrow. And happy trading tomorrow. Safe trading, guys. Let's continue to help one another out. All right, talk again soon.